Hello and welcome back to Elena Helps Teach. I'm Elena. I'm going to help teach. So before we dive into our second video for today, that's going to be over this bad Chad back here, same anchor chart, using it again. Okay, a couple things that I want to talk about in this video. Normalizing, bringing down the visual expectations of your classroom. Okay, and you're like, okay, you can have a cute classroom. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Hominess in a classroom, important. I would say the number one most important thing would be for a lot of your students, taking those fluorescent lights, turning them off, and getting some lamps in your classroom. That's going to make a world of difference for people who are easily overstimulated. It makes it feel homier. It makes it feel warmer. I've done that since forever. Okay, there's good research behind that. Good call. But what I'm referring to when I'm talking about the aesthetics of your classroom is that this anchor chart, it is not beautiful. It's not beautiful. It doesn't really need to be, one, because it gets the point across without being beautiful, and two, because this is going to go into a parking lot where children can look for it, or I can pull it back out, but I'm not going to have anchor charts stuck all over my room. Okay? Because we have neurodivergent people like me who get very overwhelmed by a lot of text in one place, and we have not been serving those kids very well through the 2000s, where we wanted it to look homey and decorated and have anchor charts everywhere. That's a lot for those kids. So we're going to normalize reusing the same anchor charts in different ways, even taking these anchor charts and putting them in journals eventually. Those will be on Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you go to Teachers Pay Teachers, this anchor chart and all my other anchor charts will be in there for free if you want to do journal work with your kids, and I'll show you how to do these as journals as well. We're not moving on to a lot of new anchor charts super quickly. We're going to take our time with them. I want to teach you how to work your way through them with your kids in a way that's helpful. The second thing that I want to talk about, okay, aesthetics. Like, if we produce more better looking stuff, and we're Rockstar teachers, and we have everything tied up in this little bow, and we're so sharp, and our administrator thinks we're so sharp, and we're volunteering for every committee known to man, then we will be a good teacher. I'm going to say that this right here is killing teachers. It is not good for you. It wasn't good for me. On the other hand, we have this other phenomenon happening where we aren't psychologists, but there's no administrator around, no school counselor around. The behavior tech is doing their very best job, and he or she is so overwhelmed that honestly they need a vacation literally by October. Literally by October, their emotions are so shot, and then they're walking around like kind, numb zombies for the rest of the year because they're holding on for dear life. But we do not have support in our classrooms for the increased mental instability of our students, the increased dysregulation, the increased, at least dialogue about parent issues. CPS calls are always happening. We're always turning the pot with, like, is this kid being severely enough abused or neglected that somebody's going to do something about it? Which is a terrible question to have to ask. But as we go through these videos, I want you to know that I'm going to be taking on like a pretty strong psychological voice. I'm going to be taking on a pretty strong sociological voice. I am so open to some actual experts in the field hopping onto this channel, helping guide me, because I'm interested in the truth. I'm not really interested in, oh, Elena got it right from the jump. Elena probably didn't get it right from the jump. But the things that I have gotten right have completely transformed my classroom into one that grows a ton. My classroom last year, I got moved to 4th grade. They needed heavy behavior, social, and literacy intervention help. They were so far behind. We had a lot of kids on RIMPs. We had a lot of kids who were decoding, kind of, but could not fluently read phrases. They were not understanding the text because they couldn't fluently read phrases, all of the things. And so I got put in there. 4th grade is my jam, and late bloomer literacy interventions is my jam. And so we grew a median annual growth of 167% last year. So 100% would be one school year, and then every student on average grew an entire school year and then almost 3/4 of another school year. I remember one time when I was in Springfield, it was a 224% annual growth. Okay, so I'm very data driven, but I'm also concerned about stuff that is playing into the data that nobody is tackling head on. And so by all means, if you're an expert in this field, please send me an email. My stuff is linked in the description box below. Like, follow, subscribe. Keep an eye on me. Send me emails. Ask me questions. Please be civilized. I'm not trying to hurt kids. I'm trying to help kids. And I would really love your voice at the table in that process. So get a hold of me. If you have something to add to this conversation, or you think that I'm missing a component or anything like that, I would love to hear from you. So just expect I'm going to be pushing for us to downsize the imperialism of public education, which sounds really intense. Teaching and learning has been happening since little people first started roaming the planet. Okay, big people have been teaching little people how to survive forever. And even though sometimes it's amazing to have the most beautiful border on that worksheet and that newsletter is popping, if you're falling behind in your personal life, if you're falling behind in your emotional life, if your health is suffering, if your marriage is suffering, if your relationship with your own kids is suffering, then maybe our fixation on that border needs to change. And I'm going to help us maybe name some of those anxieties and fears and help you fix some of that so that you have resources other than just feeling like you just stopped being a Rockstar teacher. Okay, you're a Rockstar teacher. This is a really hard job, and I want to help you. So I'm going to be really advocating for us minimizing some, and then I'm also going to be really advocating for us to have some actual science, because we talk about science, but we're not applying it to public education in any way. It's wild to me. Wild. I do not know how the state governments are acting as though they have best kids' interests in mind at this point. Not only do they not have kids' best interests in mind, they don't have your best interest in mind. But I do. And so I'm going to see what we can do to get us some resources and get some people talking. I'm not afraid to be weird. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I've got enough chutzpah to take down a small city. And I'm here for you guys. So, minimize making things overcomplicated and maybe sometimes extremely beautiful. Prioritize good science, good human connection, teaching the whole child, social emotional awareness, and that trauma-informed teaching, creating and changing a trauma-informed practice. So if you want to think about what I do as like therapeutic teaching, that might be a good way to view it. Sometimes that's how I view it. It's helped me. It's inspired me. I'm not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. I am not a sociologist. I am a teacher with a master's degree in educational leadership, a principal's license, who was really successful in the classroom and thinks that I could be used better somewhere else. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out.